Well, I mentioned earlier I had hoped to host a conversation between the two candidates for Detroit City Clerk, but the incumbent has declined to take part. So let's meet the challenger, DENZEL McCampbell. DENZEL, I really appreciate your being here, but I'm curious about your decision to run this time around. There have been plenty of problems over the years in Detroit elections. We all know that. But the election of 2020 has had to withstand all kinds of scrutiny in court, and it did that. So is this the best time to complain about elections in the city?
Thanks for having me on, Devin. I appreciate the conversation. Absolutely, the 2020 election, there was not any fraud. And unfortunately, we had, attacks on the election and really attacks on voting rights, I would say, especially for Black and brown communities. But the reason why I'm running is not so much just about the 2020 elections. As you mentioned, there's been plenty of issues with our elections in the city of Detroit. And really around participation, I continue to get complaints from folks around polling locations not open on time, precincts being moved with no notice, the lack of education that we're having right now in this current election. We have 3 ballot proposals and not enough information is out there. So there's still deep issues with the Detroit City Clerk's office, and I'm running because I believe we need new energy and it's time for a change.
We also, though, knew that COVID had a lot to do with problems in 2020 as far as staffing of elections, and that when you end up with not enough volunteers, not enough poll workers, you are going to end up with a problem. I mean, don't we have to chalk up some of that to the way that we were living our lives in 2020?
When we look at what's going on with our polling workers and the staffing, we need a Detroit City Clerk who will actually be out in the community making these issues known, right? It just can't be after the fact and excuses. We need a Detroit City Clerk who will be proactive with civic engagement groups to amp up that recruiting, right? We need a Detroit City Clerk office that will do more robust training to make sure that our poll workers have the information that they need. So yes, we have these factors in, but Detroiters deserve elected officials who will be forthcoming, who will be transparent, and will work in partnership. And I don't believe we've had enough of that out of the Detroit City Clerk's office.
I'm going to assume part of the reason, speaking of transparency, I'm going to assume part of the reason why Janice Winfrey has declined to appear is recently it came to light that she and her husband have had they're behind on paying some taxes. A lot of Detroiters are behind on paying taxes. She's apparently making good on the payment program she has, but I guess I'm curious as to whether or not you think that that's an issue, or are you setting that aside and sticking with what goes on in the clerk's office?
When that news came out, I mentioned that I'm first and foremost that I believe that she should just be transparent. Again, it's transparent forthcoming with Detroiters about these issues as a public official. I'm not going to use her personal finances against her, but Detroiters deserve to have their public officials be very straightforward, especially when we're talking about tax dollars. They are the very tax dollars that she is over as Detroit City Clerk, because some of those tax dollars were city tax dollars. But so I'm just coming forth as being transparent. I'm glad that it does appear that she's taken care of, and I hope she continues to have that transparency as this goes on.
We look over your history, your work history, your resume, if you will. You've been a community activist for some time, working on social justice issues. You are the communications director for Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. There's not a ton on your resume, though, that suggests a ton of election experience. Where are you going to get that, and how do you manage to turn that into your favor then, as someone who doesn't have maybe a whole lot of experience with voting and balloting?
So I would actually say that I actually got my start in community organizing with voting rights and election protection. So I started with the Michigan Election Coalition, and I would be one of the people to recruit legal observers and non-legal observers to deploy out to polling locations when there were issues at the polling location. So I know Michigan election law. I was part of the early planning group with the Promote the Vote effort, which expanded ballot access, and also part of early redistricting reform efforts. And in Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's office, I did do a lot of advising on voting rights legislation. And I'll say also, Devin, very recently, I managed a $30 million project again across 8 states when it came to educating folks on how to vote safely during COVID-19, and also pushing back on disinformation and misinformation that we saw and will continue to see in elections. So I do have a lot of experience when it comes to elections. I know the election law. I've been engaged with poll workers. I've done trainings, the similar trainings that poll workers get. So I'm going to bring that experience to the Detroit City Clerk's office, along with my community organizing skills, because again, we need to make sure that we're engaging community organizations to increase civic education, to amp up turnout, but to also ensure that there's an active feedback loop with our residents to make sure that we're actually servicing them in the correct way.
Before we run out of time, I want to make sure I ask you about the effort in Lansing right now to make it, I think a lot of people think it would be tougher for Detroiters to vote if we start demanding photo IDs, driver's licenses, and the like. Now, it's doubtful that some of these things are going to get past the governor's desk, but we do understand the effort that is going on in Michigan and elsewhere on making it, it depends on your point of view. Some would say tougher to vote, some would say ensuring correct elections.
Here's what I'll say. The bottom line is that our elections are already safe and secure. We have laws in place that make sure that there's not election fraud happening. It's been proven that election fraud is very rare, and it's not really happening in the way that folks that are pushing these initiatives are claiming. This is not to actually secure our elections. These are folks that I would say that are upset about the 2020 election and are trying to ensure that some folks vote and other folks do not, and the folks that don't vote their way do not vote. This effort, I'm deeply opposed to it, and they're gonna, it's still legal in the state of Michigan to have petitioners lie to folks when they're circulating petitions and deceive them. And I really stress that voters should read the petitions that are being put in front of them and know that this is a voter suppression effort.
And Denzel, I'm afraid I'm out of time. We got to leave it there, but I really appreciate you being with me this morning on Flashpoint, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk again here before we head to Election Day. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you, Devin.
You bet. That's going to do it for us this morning. Thanks so much for being here. Mitch Albom's Heart of Detroit coming up next, and then it's Meet the Press. We'll see you next time on Flashpoint.